In recent years, Disney's live-action adaptations of animated classics have become a contentious issue for fans and critics alike. What was once seen as an exciting opportunity to revisit beloved stories with modern visuals has now turned into a cycle of diminishing returns, with many of the live-action films failing to capture the magic of their animated predecessors. From The Lion King 2019 to Mulan 2020 to The Little Mermaid 2023, Disney's live-action remakes have, for the most part, underperformed either critically, commercially, or both. Despite the star power, impressive visual effects, and substantial budgets, these films are increasingly failing to meet the high expectations set by the originals. So why have Disney's live-action adaptations stumbled, and what can be done to bring them back from the brink of mediocrity? A golden age turned dull. Disney's live-action remakes were, at first, seen as a brilliant way to reinvigorate the studio's animation catalog, with Alice in Wonderland 2010 and Cinderella 2015 leading the charge. These films were wildly successful both in terms of box office revenue and their ability to breathe new life into iconic Disney stories. In the case of Alice in Wonderland, director Tim Burton's eccentric vision of the material provided an innovative take on the much-loved animated classic, and Cinderella 2015, directed by Kenneth Branagh, balanced fidelity with fresh elements, making it a visual spectacle that both honored and elevated its source material. However, as the years have passed and Disney's catalog of beloved animated films has been systematically remade, it's become clear that something has been lost in the translation from animation to live action. Despite the overwhelming commercial success of films like The Jungle Book, 2016, and Beauty and the Beast, 2017, the pattern is undeniable. The further we move from the original Golden Age Disney films, the more the remakes seem to struggle, lacking both the spark of originality and the emotional impact that made the classics so timeless. The trap of fading innovation. One of the central issues with Disney's live-action remakes is that they often feel like a shadow of their former selves, as the magic and creativity of the original animated films are often diluted or lost entirely. The problem arises when Disney attempts to preserve the original content of its animated films while still packaging them as something new for a modern audience. While nostalgia plays a significant role in attracting viewers to the films, there's only so much that can be done when the magic of animation is replaced with a more realistic visual style. Take, for example, The Lion King 2019. The film's state-of-the-art CGI technology was intended to recreate the breathtaking landscapes and animals of Africa with jaw-dropping realism. While the visual effects were certainly impressive, they ultimately served to strip away the emotional heart of the story. The iconic songs like Circle of Life and Hakuna Matata, which felt vibrant and full of life in the animated version, were somewhat muted in the live-action remake. The character expressions and nuanced emotions that animated animals can convey were lost due to the hyper-realistic design, leaving the characters looking almost too stiff and lifeless. Similarly, The Jungle Book 2016, despite its commercial success, still faced criticism for its over-reliance on CGI and its deviation from the warmth and charm of the original animated film. The decision to create a mostly CGI jungle, with the human character Mowgli interacting with computer-generated animals, left a significant emotional void in the film. Although the visual effects were groundbreaking, the film lacked the intimacy of a real-world setting, which could have brought the characters and their relationships to life in a way that CGI couldn't replicate. The same issue is evident in Mulan 2020. The live-action version of Mulan attempted to ground the story in a more realistic, historical context, stripping away the musical elements and fantasy elements that made the original animated film so beloved. However, the film failed to fully replace the charm and excitement of the animated version with its more serious tone, leaving fans of the original disappointed. The problem of over-faithfulness. Another major issue that Disney's live-action remakes face is the problem of over-faithfulness to the original animated films. The early success of these remakes, like Beauty and the Beast 2017, relied heavily on staying true to the beloved source material. While this approach was welcomed by fans who longed to see their childhood favorites brought to life, It eventually led to a sense of stagnation. Audiences began to realize that the remakes were little more than carbon copies of the originals, offering little more than a visual upgrade. While there is certainly value in honoring the original material, these remakes often suffer from a lack of fresh perspective. The remakes of Aladdin, 2019, and Beauty and the Beast, 2017, for example, were criticized for their lack of bold new ideas, with many viewers expressing that they felt as though they had seen it all before. The songs, the dialogue, and the storyline were almost identical to the animated versions, and the films felt like a mere repackaging of the original films for a new generation. This slavish devotion to the originals limits the creative possibilities of these remakes. Disney's live-action adaptations could be much more compelling if they were willing to take risks, adding new twists to the narrative, reimagining characters, or exploring themes that were left unexplored in the animated versions. In some cases, audiences might appreciate a fresh take on the material, rather than seeing it replicated almost shot for shot. The pitfalls of casting and characterization. While some of Disney's live-action adaptations have attracted big-name stars, think Will Smith as the genie in Aladdin or Emma Watson as Belle in Beauty and the Beast, others have suffered from miscasting or bland performances. The success of an animated character often hinges on their unique personality and voice, so when these characters are translated into live action, there's often a disconnect. Take The Little Mermaid, 2023, for example. Halle Bailey's portrayal of Ariel was praised by many, but the film's failure to fully capture the magic of the original animated film wasn't due to the acting. Rather, it stemmed from the film's overall tone and execution. The live-action remake felt constrained by its need to stay true to the original, which ultimately limited the scope of the character's depth and left little room for improvisation or nuance. The characterization of beloved animated characters like the genie in Aladdin and the Beast in Beauty and the Beast also felt stilted in comparison to their animated counterparts. While Will Smith brought his unique energy to the role of the genie, the magic that Robin Williams injected into the animated version was nowhere to be found. Similarly, while Emma Watson was a perfect fit for Belle, she was often overshadowed by the film's stiff CGI effects, which stripped the movie of the emotional core that made the original so powerful. The commercial disconnect. In addition to critical failures, many of these live-action remakes have underperformed at the box office, despite their heavy marketing and star-studded casts. One reason for this disconnect may lie in the changing tastes of modern audiences. As streaming services like Disney Plus have revolutionized how we consume entertainment, there is a growing preference for fresh, original content over rehashed versions of old classics. While Disney's live-action adaptations once promised to bring new life to familiar tales,